Bright Factz presents 10 uncomfortable signs you are becoming a better person. You might be on a mission to become a better version of yourself, but there are moments when it can be difficult to do so. You have the impression that you are not growing at all or very slowly. It's not always easy to see the forest for the trees while you're in the process of growing and better yourself. There are indications of advancement, but that does not imply that nothing is moving forward. In this video, we discuss a few of the signals that suggest that perhaps, even if just little, things are starting to look up, are progressing, and you're already far on your way to becoming a more admirable individual. So, let's just jump right in, shall we? The first sign is that you are beginning to have doubts about some aspects. Realizing that some of the things you have always believed in could not be true can be a terrifying experience. Do not hold true. On the other hand, there are occasions when it is essential in order to develop as a person and even to assist others along the way they traveled. When you begin to ask questions about various aspects of life, you are moving beyond the superficial level and beginning to look at things in their true light rather than through the lens of what other people want you to perceive. You have a more critical mind and tend to consider more deeply before accepting anything at face value. You ponder the reasons behind why things are the way they are and wonder if there is a requirement for them to alter. And, if so, how exactly? If you ask more questions in general, it will be much simpler for you to make decisions based on accurate information. The second point is that your viewpoint is shifting. It is not always simple to notice the changes that have taken place in oneself. We are all accustomed to thinking of ourselves as fixed entities, each with a predetermined identity and a predetermined path through life, ways of carrying out activities. But when you start to become aware that your viewpoint is shifting, that is actually a sign that something is happening. It means you are maturing and becoming more advanced. If you find that your viewpoint on a subject has shifted, it is often due to the fact that you have gained additional knowledge concerning it and have a greater knowledge of it overall. This procedure is one of the most crucial parts of the maturation process. At first, it could be terrifying or uncomfortable, but those sensations are normal and merely a normal part of the process. The third point is that you are beginning to see the shadowy side of yourself. Everyone has a shadow side, which is the aspect of themselves that they strive to conceal from other people and even from themselves. Sometimes it's because we're worried about what other people will think of us, and other times it's because we're embarrassed, because we are terrified of what we could be capable of if we were to allow the light in. But when you are conscious of your shadow self and able to perceive its ugliness with comprehension, you are able to overcome it with compassion rather than judgment or fear. It is possible for this to be a truly liberating experience. It signifies that regardless of how difficult things become or how much anger, despair, or frustration builds up, there is always hope within of you. You do not have to immediately act on those feelings or allow them to determine who you are. In yourself as a person, you are less judgmental of other people, which brings us to point number 4. Everyone here has their own point of view, and we place a lot of weight on their perspectives. And while it goes without saying that we are entitled to the right to hold such ideas, the fact that we do so is what distinguishes us as human. When we are given new information, it is possible for us to revise our opinions. Having stated that, it is simple to take offense when someone challenges your beliefs or viewpoints. It is difficult for you to listen because you have the impression that your viewpoint is being challenged or attacked, to gain knowledge from that individual. On the other hand, it's a good sign if you're able to assess others less harshly when they disagree with you, that you are progressing toward being a more admirable person. It demonstrates that you are more tolerant of other people's thoughts and beliefs as well as more receptive to hearing them, despite the fact that they go against your own beliefs. You are aware of the part you played in previous conflicts, which brings us to point number 5. It can be difficult for the majority of people to admit when they have done something wrong, particularly when those mistakes have resulted in the suffering of other people. However, it is essential that we accept responsibility for our actions, even if they were carried out inadvertently. When you can look back on a circumstance and recognize how your actions have harmed someone else, or when you can see how your actions have damaged yourself, when you look back on something and realize there was more than one way to look at it, it's a very obvious sign that you're maturing. A better person. Understanding the part you played in previous disagreements makes it easier to empathize with other parties and offer honest apologies. In addition to this, it teaches you how to prevent repeating the errors that you've already made. You no longer believe that you are superior to everyone else, which brings us to point number 6. It might appear to be an odd item to rejoice over, but this is actually the start of some very exciting things. serious progress in one's personal life. This is due to the fact that when we believe that we are the best, we do not leave room for ourselves to improve. We are not interested in making any changes or being better. All we want is for someone to validate our beliefs. However, if you come to terms with the fact that nobody is perfect and that everybody has space for development, instead than caring about other people, including yourself, you start concentrating on your own development. What other people are doing. When you are criticized by another person, your initial response should be to examine yourself. This brings us to point number 7. It's not easy to swallow criticism. When they are chastised, the vast majority of people either become defensive or aggressive. But other times, when we give it some thought and take a step back, we see that the criticism was justified, was actually spot on in terms of its accuracy. It demonstrates a lack of self-confidence if your initial response to criticism from another person is to examine your own thoughts and actions. You are maturing as a person, and you are able to take responsibility for the choices and acts you make. Alternative, yes. Your priorities are changing, which is a good thing. Your priorities can be an extremely telling predictor of the path that you're going to take. And if you notice that you are concentrating on different topics than you did in the past, this may indicate a shift in your priorities. Are undeniably going through a transition. It's possible that in the past, you placed a greater emphasis on financial success. But these days, you're more interested in socializing with family, friends, and acquaintances. Or maybe you used to eat nothing but fast food and go out partying all the time. But now you're trying to live a healthier lifestyle, concerned about eating well and taking care of themselves physically and emotionally. It's a clear indication that you're maturing as a person, since you're challenging yourself to achieve new things and figuring out how to make the most efficient use of your time and energy. The 9th quality is that you always tell the truth, no matter how challenging or uncomfortable it may be. It can be challenging to always speak the truth. There are times when we all have moments of weakness in which we wish to avoid telling someone anything that might cause them to feel uncomfortable, irritate them. It is much simpler to give kids harmless lies in order to prevent upsetting them or making them feel bad about themselves. Negative feelings about oneself. And while that approach might be successful in some circumstances, there are other instances in which there is no other way to move forward. Calls on you to be honest not only with yourself but also with other people. Telling the truth will, in the long run, help you become a better person and will assist you in forging lasting relationships. Partnerships based on trust and being honest with one another. You are less concerned with being right. Which brings us to point number 10. It's possible that when we're in the middle of a disagreement, it may seem like the only thing that counts is whether or not the perspective that we hold is accurate. But if we all spend our time always attempting to demonstrate that we are correct, then no one emerges victorious. We all lose. Nobody acquires any new knowledge, and nobody matures or undergoes any mental or emotional transformations. If you care less about being correct and more about doing what is most beneficial, you will be successful. It is a sign of maturity for everyone concerned. It shows that you can see beyond yourself and evaluate the situation objectively. Are maturing as a human being as a result of the experience? It makes no difference what you started with, where you came from, or where you are now. Right now in life, almost everyone possesses the potential to develop into a more admirable individual. You must simply be willing to accept that you will feel at least a little uneasy at some point along the process. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends so we can keep making them. For more videos like this, hit the subscribe button and remember to click on the notification bell. Also, be sure to check out our other videos as well. Thanks for watching.